Hello, kindred souls. Welcome to the next step along our spiritual journey. I am about to do the month ahead reading for the angel number 2. And this reading will be good for any time that you're under the influence of the angel number 2, such as the month of February, like it is for me right now, or you keep seeing the number 2 repeatedly, and that goes for any time if you're seeing like multiples of 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, because it all comes down to that basic energy of the angel number 2, of what those messages are and what they may mean. So anytime you're under the influence of the angel number 2, this reading will help you kind of uncover some of the messages that your angels may be sending you, and to see what type of things you might expect going into the month ahead. And speaking of heads on my head, this is Annie. For those of you who don't know, he's my newest little addition to the family, so I guess he's going to be helping us with this reading. Hopefully not making it too difficult, such as trying to chew my earrings out or get into my mouth too much, but we'll see how it goes. Hi, baby. So I am going to do, I'll talk a little bit about the energy of the angel number 2 and some of the meanings that come with it. And then I'm going to do a card reading for each week of the month, and that will include a card for the overall energy, and then one for our outer world, and one for the inner world, or kind of what the angels are wanting to illuminate within us, and for that week or through the month. And then I will do the trio card at the end, which is a message from your heart, a message from your angels, and a message from your soul. So with that said, let's get started. So the angel number 2 is I'd say it's one of my favorite numbers, but they're all one of my favorite numbers whenever I get to it. But the angel number 2 is one of our most balanced numbers. So it actually calls on us, well, it can bring balance into your life if you're utilizing the energy of it that way. But most of the time when we're seeing the angel number 2, or when those messages are coming in, it's a message to focus on balance. It's a message to create balance, because this number carries the energy of, you've planted the seeds, you've done the work, and it's the energy of that work paying off, but when you can't see it yet. So, the angels will often send the number 2 when you're on the right path, you're doing the right things, you're making a lot of effort, but you might be feeling a bit of doubt if what you're doing is working. So this number would mean that it is. You just can't see it yet. So don't give up, that's obviously the faith that also comes with the angel number 2, that just having faith, believing in yourself, believing the angels are helping you, believing that the work that you're doing is doing good, following your intuition, trusting your intuition is going to be very powerful anytime the number 2 is in your life. And it's also a number of, because it's an even number, so that's going to be a number that encourages us to seek support, assistance, answers, that kind of stuff outside of ourselves. So it's might be a call to look at relationships in your life, either making sure the relationships that are already in your life are balanced, or it could possibly, okay, my camera just overheated there, so I will hopefully stay on track as we get started again. But the angel number 2, like I said, is one of the most balanced numbers that we have. It's 2, right? So it can be a call to look at your relationships, either, look at the relationships that you have, make sure they're balanced. You got to remember, things like receiving is just as important as giving, which is often backwards, but from what the world usually tells us, that giving is the most important. But in the case of highly sensitive spiritual beings and people who have, grown up as empaths and with the trauma and all of that stuff, we tend to people please and self-sacrifice a little too much. And so the number 2 could be reminding you to take a step back and make sure that your relationships are uplifting. They're lifting you up in life. They're giving something back. They're not just all taking and no receiving. And you've got to be open to receiving. You know, if you want to manifest, if you want to hear messages from your angels, if you want love, or you know, anything like that, you have to be willing to receive it. Even if, you know, like you think like asking for help is difficult, or you think asking somebody to you know, give something to you is like selfish or something. But it's the same thing as allowing the messages that your angels have for you, and the messages or the gifts or, you know, the manifestation that you're trying. If you're not willing to receive love, assistance, help, recognition, any of that, then you're going to be blocking things that you want from coming into your life. So, you know, check those relationships, check, you know, everything in your life is balanced, you know, giving, receiving, work, rest, within your relationships. It could also be, you know, maybe a relationship that you have can use your attention. Maybe somebody needs you. It can be anything like that. But the angel number 2 primarily is known for that energy of faith. And, you know, keep going, keep working. You're on the right path, just to help kind of get through it as you're waiting for the results to come through, the results of all the efforts and everything you've done while you're waiting for that to happen. Just, you know, ensure you're ready to receive it, and make sure your life is as balanced as it can be. So with that, let's see what the angels have as far as the tarot cards on, yeah, how to help us get through some of this energy, or what might be going on for those of us who are watching this video and are under the influence of the angel number 2. Alright, so if you like, I always do my Be-Love meditation before this. So if you'd like to do that, or, you know, just take a couple deep breaths with me and just focus on bringing in those messages and a clear understanding of what the angels want us to know, what messages they have for us, and what we need to know. And thank you, angels, for your love, for your guidance, and for your messages today. You know, oddly, I've never really done this before, but I'm kind of feeling like an overall theme card would be good. And I was going to deal these Whispers of Love for the trio cards at the end, but I think I'm going to draw one just real quick first. And let's see if it just gives us an overall kind of theme of what to expect. What can we expect? I'm not sure why, but I just kept thinking about that and just overwhelmingly feeling like I needed that. So let's do that. Overall this month, the angel number 2 and the energy of the month, we are seeing this. What do you need to know? All right. That would be it. All right. Okay. Which, you know, this is a card of love who you are. You are divine, delightful, and deserving of the wonderful things life has to offer. What, honestly, like a beautiful card for that angel number 2 energy, you know? Love who you are. That is a lot of that having faith and having that balance, right? faith. So it seems like this month, the angels are just really encouraging you to, well, like I said, that being open to receiving. Maybe that's why I was emphasizing that part of it earlier, even though there's so much to the number, but that learning to love yourself, that you are deserving of good things. And I am feeling like that's the thing, right? So many of us that will come across this video, we do have a hard time receiving, but you're doing so much work. You've been doing a lot of work and you've been asking for a lot of help, but it can't come in if you're not open to it. And I'm feeling like that's probably one of the main messages you're getting, and that's perhaps why I felt like doing this overall card for this overall energy. Know yourself, love yourself. So let's see the first week. Angels, have. Okay, there went a card. Overall energy, and yeah, okay, so for the overall energy of the first week, we're going more into like a lot of that intuition and trusting yourself, believing in yourself, your feelings. I think a lot of times too, those of us that are highly sensitive spiritual beings too, right? We get told that we're too sensitive, too sensitive to the physical world, but also, emotionally, especially if you want to cry or you get angry or you get overwhelmed or you have meltdowns or, breakdowns, meltdowns, or you just need time, and we're told that we're too sensitive. Learn to deal with it. We get told that a lot. So this month is definitely going into that, accepting yourself and receiving by trusting yourself, your abilities, your gifts. You're not too sensitive. You're not too much. You're just right. The gifts that you have for a reason. So going into this month, learning that love, that acceptance, and opening yourself up is really just about, allowing yourself to see your true, authentic self. Listen and trust yourself going forward. And then this first week, it looks like we might be facing a bit of some sort of a decision. Things are coming up, and this could be a decision based on the work that you've been doing, or it could be something is coming into your life that, the angels are calling on you to pay attention to. And the emphasis of this card is that, not making a decision is a decision in and of itself. So we're really going into this week with that intuition, that trusting yourself, that listening to yourself. And when a decision comes up that you need to make, fall back on that trusting yourself and listening to that intuition. Because otherwise you might just freeze. Like this card is in the snow and ice, right? So like just getting frozen, getting stuck. And that is a decision. It's just a decision you may have a little less power over because you're just avoiding it, right? So listen to yourself, trust yourself, and don't give up on yourself. The angel number 2 means that the work that you're doing is paying off. You're on the right path. You just can't see it yet. So that faith really comes in under this number. And then your inner world, what the angels want you to know about your inner world. We have the 7 of Fire. So that's going to be about, you might feel like the decision that is coming from your heart is, hang on. He wants to go up there. I'm going to have to pause the camera to do it. but you might be feeling like the decision that's coming from your heart or from your intuition when you're listening to yourself, and that might be why you feel stuck or at that impasse when you're trying to make this decision, is because you feel like you have to defend your real feelings. You feel like you have to defend what's coming from your heart as if it's not right. And maybe that's coming from your past. Maybe that's coming from just the nature of what's going on. Maybe you're afraid you're being too selfish, or, whatever it is, you may be feeling like you need to defend that. But it's okay. It's okay to make this decision. It's okay to go with it even though you feel that way. So, but, it's still your decision to make. So, hold on. We'll go into the next week, but let me help this bird. Okay, happy bird now. All right. So, let's see the second week. Going into the second week. Okay. Oh, I already got the cards, I guess. Alright, so, alright. Alright, so, actually going into week 2, like I had said that, 2s are about that balance and about relationships and making sure that there is that balance in all of your relationships. You should be getting something out of your relationships, not just putting something into them, which can be difficult for quite a few of us depending on our past and, but the type of people in this collective that would be coming here, and definitely we tend to struggle with that. So actually the second week, the angels are saying the relationship that you really need to pay attention to the most, the one that is the most imbalanced that you're working on for this overall energy we have about love, who you are, understanding your divinity and your light, and all of that is yourself. So yeah, it's a card about relationships, but I mean, it's the we're in the energy of more relationships and balance and stuff, but the angels are definitely saying that you need to work on that relationship with yourself. And I do think that they don't mean so much, spend time on your own or spend time being comfortable alone. You might be doing that. You might be in a bit of a hermit mode right now. And that's okay, because if you can actually just work on how you relate to yourself, how you think about yourself, how do you feel about yourself when you're talking to yourself, when you're talking to your internal dialogue? What are you saying to yourself? Do you like yourself? Are you being nice? Are you being fair? Are you being supportive to yourself? That's kind of the relationship that you have with yourself, right? That's the one that the angels are talking about. Spending a bit of that time on your own and working on that, and those thoughts and what you say to yourself and how you feel about yourself when you're in your own company. Love who you are, right? And so many of us, we grow up with the trauma and all of that stuff, the challenges and the struggles that we have. And while healing, we come to a point where it's easy to feel like I hate myself or don't like myself, or I'm not a good person, I'm not deserving, I'm not worthy, right? It's so easy to come to that place. So that relationship, work on that relationship you have with yourself this month, especially the second week. And what is coming in from the outer world is some kind of a balance. It likely could be financially, but it could also also be energetically, but this week there's a balance coming in. But maybe seeing a little bit of something you've been worried about paying off. So you've been worried about money, you've been worried about bills being paid. Some of that's gonna come in, but the trick of it is it's not just coming in because just because. It's not just good luck. This is the kind of windfall or blessing, good thing, prosperity coming into your life as a result of what you've been putting out into the world. Okay, so it's like you've been putting out a lot of love. Maybe you've been putting out money or energy to bring in money, right? What you've been putting out is what you are gonna see coming in a bit in the second week. So, remember, if you're going month by month, last month would have been the angel number 1, which is about positive thinking and that quick manifestation. So if you were working on that positive thinking and keeping yourself with your focus positive for what you're manifesting, well, this week might be where you're just seeing that come into play. It's coming back to you and kind of balancing out a little bit from what you've been putting out to what you're actually receiving. And your inner world. Ooh, okay. Your inner world is the 10 of Swords, and that is the card of endings. So it seems like, I'd say and that could be a big part of why in the second week the angels are calling on you to focus on that relationship with yourself, because there is a part of you that's, for lack of better words, dying. But not in a bad way. This is going to be like a past, an aspect of your past, a pattern, a way of thinking, something that you've been trying to heal, trying to grow from, trying to move past. This second week, that's a lot of what that coming back around, that paying off of what you've been putting out is coming back. But you might feel like you need to rest a little bit, give yourself a lot of time and patience. Like the change, the end has come. It's been hard earned, and it hasn't been easy to get to this ending, and you just need to rest. Give yourself time to rest, integrate some of these changes, and if you're going back into old thoughts and old patterns, that's okay. Don't get too down on yourself. You're working on, just keep reminding yourself that you're working on loving who you are, not loving who you should be, not loving who people have told you to be, not loving the person that lives up to the expectations that the world or yourself or anything has put on you. This is learning how to love you, who you are, who you've always been, right? So a part of that past that you've been working on is dying off. It's healing. You have made a lot of success. The second week, you're going to notice some of it, but you've got to work on that relationship with yourself. And, actually liking who you are underneath all of that. Take the mask off. Take that mask off when you're alone and make sure that you like who you are. Because guarantee you, if you are here watching this video right now, that is a big message your angels are sending you, is that you are very incredibly lovable and worthy and a beautiful person that, is lovable. You are likable, So don't be doubting that. All right. And then, okay. All right. So into the third week, the overall energy of that week is strength, calling on your inner strength. You're a powerful person. The angels are kind of showing you or pointing out to you that you have more strength than you maybe realize that you do. So calling on that, you can see like in those cards, it's got that lion there, right? It's like calling on that inner lion of yours. You're strong, stronger than you may think. That's why we can, you like yourself, love yourself, tap into that strength, that compassion. What are these words? Courage, compassion, perseverance, all of that kind of stuff. And from the outer world, we've got the Three of Fire. So that's either focusing on, the goals that you currently have. This is also a lot like that 2 energy that I was saying before about the hard work paying off. This is kind of like your ship is coming in. It's coming in. So keep focused on your goals, your vision, and allowing that to come in. And your inner world is another air card, which is interesting. So, and that kind of makes sense because we had the endings the week before, and then the next week you go into beginnings. So, these are beginnings that will require you to not let your thoughts get the best of you. So sometimes when the beginnings that come with the Eights of Air are often challenging. They pose a challenge. There's some struggles. So it's like that kind of thing where, like you're making the changes and you're making the changes and you see the manifestation is coming, but, maybe things that you thought you've changed keep coming back, or something bad happens to get in the way, or something that you at least perceive as bad, some kind of struggle, some kind of obstacle, and you're like, oh man, it's not gonna work. But then you work through that obstacle and then everything's okay, like somehow. But those obstacles keep coming, but you just keep working through them and everything's okay in the end. The change really has happened, that kind of start. It's not just coming smoothly and easily. It's coming with, I don't know, maybe these little tests to make sure that you're determined to stay on that path, that you're capable, that it's what you really want. But it is new beginnings, and it's a very auspicious and very good new beginnings. You just want to watch out for your thoughts derailing you. So even if something happened that you feel like it might be evidence that you're not making progress, or it's evidence that what you're working on isn't coming to fruition, it can feel like that. And it's okay. Just recognize, it feels that way. This feels that way. This feels like I'm failing. This feels like I'm not making progress. This feels like I'm falling back. Go ahead and recognize that feeling and that thought through the situation, and then think it through logically. Think it through rationally. What have I learned from all of the healing or all of the work that I've done? What have I learned, and how can I work through this? But try your best not to allow those negative thoughts to come in and just completely derail you. The thought can come, well, this means I'm not making progress, or this means I'm failing. And you can say, oh yeah, I recognize this as a thought that I'm having, but it doesn't make it true. And, there are ways to work through this. I'm just going to perhaps try something different than I've done before. So, once again, a lot of that trusting yourself, even though the outside world may not appear to have caught up with your inner world yet, or caught up with what you've been working towards quite just yet, right? All right, and then into the final week, of this month with the angel number 2 and that overall energy of learning to love yourself. Well, maybe not learning, but I have to look at the card again, but the realizing that you are deserving, loving yourself, liking yourself, and ultimately realizing that you are deserving of good things. You deserve them. Straight up, that's what it's about. You just deserve it. All right, so here we have the Lovers as the overall energy going into the last week. That is, very much related to the number 2 energy, that balance, that too. And the Lovers card can very much be about love in your life, like a kind of a twin flame type of love. So it could be that relationships, or if there's a relationship you're wondering about in particular, it could be coming in. Make sure, I'm just really feeling like the angels are stressing that if that is the case for you, and you feel like this is a relationship of somebody else coming into your life, that could be the one. It could be a soulmate, it could be that kind of twin flame energy. Don't just, fall for that initial feeling or that initial thought. Make sure you're going back, like we had in the second week, of liking yourself. You really need to love yourself before you can allow the right kind of energy in. And you might be, because like I said, with that overall angel number 2 energy, you need to make sure that you're getting as much out of relationships as you're putting in. So if that is the case for you, and you think that that is how this card may apply to you, the angels are very much saying, make sure you're actually getting out of this relationship as much as you're putting in. Don't just go with that initial feeling, especially if you have any kind of attachment issue, attachment wounds from your past that are affecting you now. You might, fall into limerence very easily, and your own mind and your own heart and emotions can fool you. Not to say that that's what it is, because this is the Lovers card, so it could be a legitimate love coming in. But for most of us, this is definitely a card that just relates to what the entire month has been about: love yourself. So it's also a decision. It could be a decision. Whatever decisions you make, be sure it's coming from your heart. They need to come from your heart. This first week, though, those decisions, or that needing to make a decision, that's kind of falling on a bit of your thoughts and rationality to help you with that kind of decision and that kind of thought. But as we head into the end of the month, turning in towards your heart and truly trusting that intuition once again, which we also had the first week. Interestingly, the first week we have both trusting your intuition and trusting your logical, rational thoughts and all of that stuff to help you make decisions. But this is going to be more about following your heart, believing in yourself, okay? And really focusing on choosing yourself. Choose you. If it comes down to making any decisions this month, be it in relationships or for anything else, make yourself a priority and choose yourself first, and make sure that whatever you're doing is contributing to lifting you up and making you feel more loved, more deserving. Less of that selfishness or feeling selfish about it, less of that trying to be humble, lifting you up, okay? So coming from the outer world, we have celebrations, community, friendships. That's the 3 of Cups. So it feels like there's good things. Once again, more of that balance and feeling like what you've done, you're seeing the evidence of it. You're starting to feel it coming. I do feel like this month is a bit of the ups and downs, a lot of, good feelings and the evidence coming in of the work that you've done, but your thoughts may just, falling into those old thoughts and those old patterns of say, things aren't as good as they seem, or I have to protect myself, that ego jumping in and trying to protect you by being more pessimistic. But once again, you've got some good coming in, and your inner world is the Empress. So this is a major arcana too, about your creation. That decision. Kind of want to look at like all of these inner worlds. So it's interesting because you started out with maybe feeling like what's coming in or what you want to do is not really what the world expects or wants of you. So you feel hesitant to do it because you feel like you may have to defend that decision or defend that choice. But, doing it anyway, going against the grain, stepping out of your comfort zone and going with that decision anyway. And then in the next week, we had the 10 of air, where there's an ending, something, a part of yourself, a part of this work that you've been doing has finally come to the end and you're free from it. You still need to recover a bit, but there's that freedom, which I do think is coming a lot from, making this choice, even though it was the hard one. Because you remember that first week was also the 2 of air that said, this is going to be a difficult choice. But no choice. Not making a decision is a decision in itself. But I am feeling like you go with this one. You go with the hard choice. You go with choosing yourself. Even if you feel like you have to justify that or defend it. And then that's what creates this change in your inner world the next week, which is going to help you spend that time with yourself, help you love yourself more, because there's a lot of those thoughts. So like an ego death, I guess that's the words that I'm thinking of. Part of that ego in the beliefs there are dying, and you need to recover. But then you go immediately the next week into this Ace of Air, which is beginnings. But challenging beginnings, but they're very inspirational. You just got to make the adjustments. I mean, it's new. You're going from this is how it's always been to brand new. So there's a lot of adjustments, maybe challenges, obstacles to go through. And then we end with the Empress. And this is not just a new idea or a new beginning. This is like giving birth to a new creative side of yourself. Yeah. I keep thinking, and I haven't said that, a lot of that learning to love yourself and that relationship, working on that relationship with yourself, a lot of that, I think, the learning to love yourself for sure, is maybe doing some inner child work and feeling the Empress. Like, it really relates to that inner child work and coming into just your new reality, giving birth basically to that new reality, that new life, that is new existence that you're ready to step into. You're really ready to step into it. So as emphasize that angel number 2 energy and this overall energy of love who you are, understanding that you're worthy, being open to receiving, and doing that by loving who you are. And that this month, persevering, pushing through, trusting yourself, listening to your heart, and making some difficult decisions is really taking you to a place of celebration, new relationships, celebrations, good things coming in, seeing some of that results, and really heading towards something very, very new and very good. Like, but it's like the work that you've done is just life changing. Your life is changing in ways that you may not quite understand, but definitely in a very good way. So, you know, very abundant in a good way. So keep going, keep working, and keep taking those steps, even if challenges come up, even if thoughts come up, even though things may feel a little bit difficult. Keep going. And I forgot, this card actually fell out earlier and I kind of forgot about it, so a little bit of an extra card, but it is quite relevant to what we were just saying. Some of those endings especially coming, which to just emphasize what I was saying about the Empress, you know, a lot of that past reality that you've been working from, just being freed from it, released from it. But yeah, it's definitely hasn't been an easy, it's not really necessarily an easy ending. It's exhausting. It's not a smooth change that's just floated into your life. You have been working hard. You've been facing a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles, and you've overcome them all. And it is paying off. So give yourself time to rest and recover from that, to celebrate, to just appreciate what you've actually done, you know, and bringing in that love for yourself. Let's see real quick what your heart, the angels in particular, I know these are angel messages, but this card is more about, you know, just your angels, your heart, your angels, like your guardian angels, and your soul specifically. Let's see. Beautiful energy this month, intense but beautiful energy, teaching us to love ourselves, to see our worth, opening up to receiving. Oh, so important to open up to receiving these gifts that you have been working on. Not necessarily gifts either. I mean, this is hard work that you've put in. Let yourself receive the payoff. Big part of it. Let yourself receive the payoff. You're worthy of it. You deserve it. No doubts about that. Here we go. And what did I say? I said we were going to do heart this time first, right? Oh, that's yeah. Whoa, once again we've got, because I told you I was doing the whispers of love. I don't think I told you though, the tarot I used was the guardian angel tarot. Felt really good and supportive for this month. But here we are from your heart. Oh wait, what's that card? From your heart we have the Union of Hearts, a love connection defies explanation. So, you know, that message from your heart also combined with the Lover's card, definitely, I just have to say, like, some of you, if you have been wondering about a new love in your life or looking for a new love, I would say for somebody out there at least, that's happening for you. And this energy is definitely about making sure that relationship is balanced. Don't just be giving, you know? Even if it feels great, it feels wonderful, it feels perfect, it feels divine. which, it could be, you could be the one that these cards are talking to. It is divine. It's a union of hearts, connection that defies explanation. So it could very well be, but that does not mean that you can neglect your own needs. Start the relationship off balanced, start it off right, or wherever you are in it, make sure it's balanced, it's right, it's giving and receiving on both sides, and get that relationship in the right place. And that's not just because, it's the right thing to do or what you're supposed to do, or that's how you open your heart to receiving, or, any of that regular mumbo jumbo. But that is so that the relationship can last. Because if all you do is give and give in a relationship, what happens when it comes time and something happens to you and you need something? Right? That's when a lot of relationships for us, especially, highly sensitive, spiritual, neurodivergent people with, things like autism or ADHD, trauma, chronic post-traumatic stress, attachment disorder, or, attachment wounds, and all of that stuff is we give and give and give, and we do it from the heart. We do it because we love. We do it because that's what we want to do. But then, 6 months down the road, something happens in our lives and we can't give. We need the support and we need the love. But for all of that time, we've already established a relationship going in a certain direction with the kind of rules and expectations for that relationship. And when it all of a sudden switches, because that's how life works, the other person and us don't know how to navigate that. So don't really focus on that in any kind of a new relationship that's coming in, no matter how good it feels or how wonderful that other person or how perfect they feel. You really want to make sure that you're also focused on yourself and you're creating that give and take relationship that will be able to that will be able to stand the test of time, right? It will be able to persevere and go through all of the needs of both of you. Other than that, anyone else, it can be that relationship once again with yourself and coming to that love of yourself, that inner child work, like I was saying, and really loving those parts of yourself and seeing them for who they really are and everything that they have gone through and what they have dealt with, and giving that love. Give yourself that love retroactively. I love doing inner child work where I actually meditate and visualize going back in time and having a conversation with myself in that moment of trauma and saying to myself what I needed to say. And the beautiful thing about that technique is that your brain doesn't know the difference between something that you're thinking and imagining and something that actually happened, an actual memory. So it's like creating a memory in our brains, in our reality. So it's a really powerful technique. I should probably do a video about that or talk about it more, which I have plans to do, but I have plans to do so many videos. But if that's something you're interested in, make sure you let me know. Let's see, in the message from your angels, miracles and blessings. Everything has its gift. Yeah, so once again, your angels are pointing out that yes, good things are coming in, but those old thoughts, those old expectations and old patterns might come up for you and start creating some blocks. So when that does happen, definitely focusing on how even those thoughts, even when you have a negative thought, it can be a gift. Because, you have those thoughts for a reason. we always have our thoughts for a reason. There's some part of us, which is usually the ego, but there's a part of us who thinks that thought is what we need to hear. It's what we need to think about. It's what we need to focus on in order to keep ourselves safe and as happy as possible, right? It's not ever coming from a bad place. So remember that even your negative thoughts, the ones that you resist, they can be a gift if you find it. So those past experiences, the way you react to a situation, even like, last week I got sick and I couldn't do videos, and like Christine had mentioned in a Facebook comment about maybe I just needed that rest and that time to allow that change to come in, or all of that kind of stuff. So even if you get sick or you're tired or you just can't go on with what you want to get on, that can be a gift in and of itself. So your angels are reminding you of that. And finally, with your soul or your higher self, love makes a difference. Love makes the difference. Love helps heal past hurts and provides a sense of security and self-worth. So there you go. So there you go. Your higher self is just reiterating and emphasizing how this month, this number that you're under the influence of, angel number 2, is a call for you to work on understanding your self-worth. It is a journey of love, of self-love, through healing, through understanding, through getting to know yourself, through persevering and making decisions from the heart, and just really getting to know yourself and, showing yourself the same kind of love, compassion, kindness that you have for everybody else in the world. It's your turn to turn that inward and give it to yourself. You are worthy. You are beautiful. You are absolutely wonderful. I guarantee you, no doubt, I can 100% say, if you are watching this video still to this point, because this is one of my month ahead readings, they're not short, so if you stuck around this long and you are still listening to any of this, guaranteed, this is what you're meant to hear. You are meant to hear that you are worthy, you are lovable, you are so deserving of all the good things. All the good things that you can even possibly imagine. All the good things that your heart can desire. You deserve it. Come on now, you're a good person. You know you are. You know you are. The world's made you doubt it, but deep down, that this month is calling on you to get to know you. You're a good person. Exceptionally good. Amazing. Just your existence makes the world a better place. And if you're still here and you're hearing this, it means you are meant to hear it, and you need to hear it in this month, this entire month, and anytime that you're seeing the angel number 2. That's what your angels are calling on you to do, is really see that and really tap into that love that you are and all of the wonderful things that you deserve to have. And as always, I am sending a ton of love and blessings to you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching all of this. Thank you for allowing me to walk this step along your journey. I am absolutely honored, and I look forward to seeing you next time.